Yeah, we are live. So, hello everyone, I am Alyan, and today we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike is an entrepreneur and a visionary leader who is passionate about helping as many entrepreneurs and people around the world. So, welcome, Mr. Mike. How are you?
Welcome. Yes, I'm very good, thank you. Great to have a chat with you online, and hopefully see if we can help inspire and educate some entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. So, before moving on to question, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Mike Armstrong. I'm often known outside of Wales as the Welsh Dragon, with all my sort of global connections and networks. I'm an entrepreneur, an author, speaker, and a content creator, as well as a super connector. So I like to create content to share with other entrepreneurs, help them be inspired, motivated, or educated in some way. And I like connecting people together as well, so that they can grow their businesses and collaborate and help each other to grow in some way.
That's great. Thank you so much for your introduction. So, my first question is, Mike, what's the real story behind your journey into entrepreneurship?
So I would say, my journey, like most entrepreneurs, has been very sort of up and down, if you like. Nothing's a straight line in life. The real story behind my business is a story of resilience, persistence, um, willingness to adapt and change to life and the situations around you, and just being persistent in the pursuit of whatever it is you're trying to achieve in life. I would say that's the story behind my business and my entrepreneurship.
Oh, thank you so much for your answer. So, Mike, what was your lowest moment in business and how did you bounce back?
Um, I would say my lowest moment combined business and life really. I went from a corporate sales job to a self-employed role, and not long after that, I got divorced, which was probably one of the worst moments of my life. And I lost a lot of motivation and energy and that sort of thing after always being motivated and driven my entire life. This happened in my mid 30s, so I was always, growth mentality, doing well, growing, and then all of a sudden I went through a divorce. It actually coincided with me just being new to self-employment, and I lost my drive and my motivation really for a number of years. So I plateaued for a while, and then decided, I wanted to get back to business growth and to achieving my goals and my dreams. So I had to reset. I had to give myself new goals, short, medium, and long-term goals, and start getting onto the positive momentum habit of achieving things and doing things that always wanted to do. So I set myself goals. I put them on yellow post-it notes all around my house, and as I achieved them, I sort of picked off the yellow post-it note, chucked them in the bin, and moved on to the next goal. Give myself some appreciation and some a tap on the back for doing something that I always wanted to do, and moved on to the next one. And with that, I was able to rebuild my momentum, rebuild my motivation, rebuild my drive, and get back on the horse and carry on chasing what it is I want to achieve in life.
All right, thank you so much for the story. So, what one belief you had to completely unlearn to grow?
Um, I would say I'm quite lucky, really. I didn't really have a lot of bad beliefs growing up. I actually had a good childhood. I was good academically. I was good at sports. I had my mum and dad got divorced when I was 8, so I was brought up mostly by my mother. But my mother was an awesome mother, and she always gave me the confidence and belief that I could do and achieve whatever I wanted to achieve. So I was lucky I didn't have a lot of that work I had to do, like a lot of people do, to unlearn things we grew up learning which were false. I was just lucky that I always had the belief that I can do and achieve whatever it is I wanted to achieve, and I've spent my life, doing that really, achieving and doing whatever it is I want to achieve. Yes, there's been setbacks, and yes, there's been comebacks, and reinventions, and all of that sort of thing, which are all vocabulary, which is part of the entrepreneurial journey. Most entrepreneurs will understand and empathize with. But I was lucky; I didn't really have too many beliefs holding me back. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, what? Sorry. So my next question is, what one belief you had to complete? Sorry. So my question is, someone is starting from zero today. So what should they do?
Yeah, I think we're having a bit of a trouble with the line, but I got the question up anyway. So, starting from scratch, I think there's a couple of things you need to focus on. One is building a great network. You need to have good people around you. So, either in your business to bounce ideas off, to collaborate with, to partner with, all that sort of thing. You need to build good people around you. That's an important start of any business. But another one which a lot of people don't talk about or forget about is actually the product or the service that you offer. It needs to be able to offer great value to as many people as possible. So it needs to be, far reaching. It needs to be valuable. It needs to be something that is, easy to monetize. It needs to be a skill set that, the world needs. So you need to create something that people want and people need, and that is a good start and a good foundation for building a business, because you actually got something that you can build a business behind, and if you put the right people in place, and if needed, you work on your mentality and your own skill set in order to be able to work with those people better and to grow your business better. That's the main thing. So, make sure you've got a good product or service at a good competitive price to start with, and then make sure you've got the right people around you, and you should be able to build a good business. So, regarding the mistakes that entrepreneurs make again and again, I think sometimes they're offering a product or a service that they believe is good, but the actual marketplace doesn't. So, a lot of entrepreneurs don't actually do much market research when they first get going. So, they don't actually look at whether the product or the service they're offering is in demand, how competitive it is, who's offering it, and all of that. They don't do the market research, and so they launch a product or a service. Often, it's one that billions of other people have launched or are offering, and it's quite hard for you to cut through the noise if you're offering something similar to everyone else, and there's no USPs and there's nothing different about it. Then it's very hard to stand out of a very crowded marketplace. So I think not doing market research and not being aware of what market is out there for their product or service, means a lot of entrepreneurs spend the first few years trying to sell something, not getting many customers, and wondering why. And then what they don't realize is there's a billion other people trying to sell the same thing to the same people, and maybe they're a bit more experienced at doing it, and that's why they're getting the customers, and you're not. So, market research is one of the things I see entrepreneurs making the mistake of regularly. Also, sometimes people they mistake being busy for doing good work, really. But you can be busy doing stuff that's just a waste of time. So, a lot of entrepreneurs, they'll waste lots of their time doing stuff that doesn't really impact their business. The most important thing you can do in a new business is sales and marketing, because that's what brings customers in and that's what makes you grow your business. But you'll find some people being busy on their operational side of things, and they forget to do any sales and marketing, and then they wonder why they go bust because there's no cash flow in the business. So, yeah, ultimately, the rest of the business can grow as you grow, but you need to concentrate at the start on your sales and your marketing, getting your customers right, getting your products right, maybe developing your products with the customers you have in order to be able to get more revenue off the same customers by servicing more of their needs. But you sort of grow the rest of your business around the sales and marketing, and not the other way around.
Thank you so much for this wonderful answer. So my next question is, how do you personally define success now compared to when you started?
Well, when I started, I was always money motivated. I was interested in, just earning as much as I could, and I thought success was just how much money you made. Really, I was always looking to earn more money, make more commission, earn more bonuses, etc., etc. But as I got older, what I realized is it doesn't really matter how much money you have, especially if you're in a job, you'll only be just over broke, yeah. Or if you've got money, but as much money as you earn, quite often you can spend it, So you just have a bigger house or a bigger car or a better holiday or whatever. But often your life doesn't really change unless you make really serious wealth, yeah. And you've got to be very, very determined to make serious wealth. You've got to want to put the hours in and do the time, etc., or collaborate with the people or partner with the products or whatever. So what I learned quite quickly is actually what do you want out of life? Because success is achieving what you want out of life, and that can be monetary, and for a lot of people there is, but it also can be other things like having a purpose, maybe helping other people and creating an impact, leaving a legacy, having a happy life, having a stress-free life, whatever people want out of life is what they should aim for. So I was lucky that I learned that early on, and so for me, success is achieving what I want to achieve, and that's a well-balanced, happy life where I can help as many people as possible. So I've implemented a life and a lifestyle and a business and other activities which are things I enjoy doing, because happiness to me is a big part of success. So I've been extremely successful for a very long time because I've been extremely happy for a long time, because I live the life I want to live on my terms. And yes, I'm always working towards greater wealth and greater monetary success, but that should become a byproduct of you being happy and doing things that's of value to other people. And if you're happy and you're enjoying life, and you combine that with doing things that's of value to other people, then money and finances will come as a byproduct of that. But ultimately, we're born with nothing, we die with nothing. Whatever we got in between is just um, it's loaned to us, really. So how much of loan stuff do you need if you're born with nothing and you die with nothing, and you're happy with whatever you got? Then you can keep working on whatever it is you're trying to achieve in life, whatever your goals are, your ambitions are, etc. But you can be very successful without having, £1 million or £1 billion or £10 million. You can be successful if you're living the life you want to live every day, and you're enjoying yourself, because you only got one life. It's better to be happy doing whatever it is you want to be doing than to be rich and not doing what you want to be doing every day.
Thank you, Mike, for this answer. So, what one daily habit that has had the biggest impact on your success?
Well, I think as a content creator, as an author, a speaker, a super connector, etc., I think one of my daily habits, which has the most impact on my success, is regular content creation, regular, connecting with people via social media and using technology. I do that on a daily basis. and that's had a big impact on my life because it's allowed me to connect with more people globally rather than just locally, and all that sort of thing. But there's another habit which I don't do daily, but I do regular, and that's keeping in contact with your connections. There's no point just meeting people and then forgetting about them. You need to stay in touch with them. So not necessarily a daily habit, but a regular habit as well is staying in touch with your connections, staying in touch with the people who matter in your life, and making sure that relationship that you've started is nourished, is built, and there's some fruit from it. Because, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs say your network is your net worth. But if your network is decaying and is not nourished and there's not much leverage from it, then it's almost as bad as not having a network in the first place. But if you water your network, if you nourish it, if you work out how you can work together to leverage the relationship and build something from it, then your network is your net worth. So it's all about how you leverage that network, and you have to be working with that network regular, and you have to be finding ways that you can leverage each other's connections, knowledge, experience, services, whatever, in order to help each other to grow. So that's two habits that's had probably the most impact on my success.
That's really interesting. Thank you so much for your habit to us. So, can you share a story where networking completely changed your life or business?
Yeah. So I met somebody networking about, I don't know, 12 years ago now, something like that, maybe 15 years ago, a long time ago. I met someone networking. He was a property developer. And I wasn't really doing a lot with property at that time. I did later on have a property maintenance business, but it was just someone I connected with, got on with. We met at events regularly, etc. About 10 years later, he bought a hotel and needed some help, with sort of a bit of sales and marketing consultancy and a bit of management, that sort of thing. So I went down to help him for 3 weeks as a consultant and as a friend, just to sort of see what I could do to help. I ended up running it for 11 months. He needed somebody to run it. I'd been there for 3 weeks helping. He needed someone to either buy the hotel because he didn't want to run it himself. He wasn't doing a very good job. He wasn't sort of hospitality trained, if you like, or capable. So I ended up looking at what he needed after 3 weeks. I said he needed to either sell it, lease it, or get someone else in to manage it. He said he didn't, obviously couldn't sell it straight away, couldn't lease it straight away, and didn't know anyone else that he could use to manage it. So would I do that? And so I said, yeah, go on then. And I agreed to do it on a 1 month rolling basis, and I ended up doing it for 11 months. So that was a connection I had from networking that I had nurtured for 10, 12 years, whatever. Hadn't really done much with it until that point. Then went to help him out for 3 weeks, ended up running it for 11 months. After that, I had a bit of time off, and then I was looking for somewhere to rent as a house, which I could also Airbnb as a business. And I ended up falling into a hotel in Penarth, which I now run. I'm a tenanted landlord. I rent off the brewery, and I run my business from there. And that's where I am now. I'm currently in a hotel building a community pub into a business, music and sports event venue. And all of that happened from networking, from a contact I met 15 years ago, and because I was willing to help somebody when asked upon.
That's great. Thank you so much for telling us networking, power of networking. Thank you so much for your answer. So, what does born to hustle mean to you in real life, just as a slogan?
Yeah, well, born to hustle. A lot of people talk about the hustle, but the hustle is real. If you really want to achieve what you want to in life, you have to hustle. You have to keep hustling. You have to turn up on days when you don't feel like it and do work. You have to, do work late into the night. You have to do work early in the morning. You've got to really be dedicated to whatever it is you're trying to achieve, especially if you're trying to achieve something big. And I don't believe in trying to achieve something that's not big, because like ultimately, if it's your life goal or your dream or whatever, why would anyone have a small life dream or a life goal? Like, you know what I mean? That just shows a lack of ambition. um, you only got one life. You might as well try and live it doing the biggest thing you can possibly do. So, if you dream big and you try to achieve big, then you've got to hustle. You've got to be on it. You've got to be thinking about it all the time, dedicated to it. Trying to find ways of upskilling your skills, your knowledge, your partnerships, whatever you need to do to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Because most things aren't achieved on our own; they're achieved, together. And so you have to develop into the person capable of achieving your life dream or your life goal. And that takes time, it takes patience, it takes consistency, it takes the ability to bounce back from life situations when they're frustrated upon you. You have to be able to develop and move back into the direction you want to be going to. And if you've got a strong enough pull, if there's enough purpose in what you're doing, and there's enough reward in whatever it is you're trying to achieve, then hopefully that will keep pulling you back on course. When life comes and gives you the curveball, you need to be pulled back on course to achieve ultimately what you're trying to achieve. And that's why you've got to have something big enough, because once you've got something big enough, you'll always get pulled back on course at some point.
Thank you, Mike, for your answer. So, Mike, can you tell us what kind of entrepreneur do you enjoy helping the most and why?
Yeah, so I like working with any entrepreneurs really, because if you're an entrepreneur, then you're a 10%er. You're not the same as 90% of people. You want to live life on your own terms, or you want to solve a problem, or you want to do something, because that's why you're an entrepreneur. You wouldn't be doing it otherwise. So I like working with all entrepreneurs. But the ones that I get best results with, I suppose, are ones who are ambitious, ones who are into technology or willing to learn, willing to adapt. So yeah, ambitious entrepreneurs, often in the tech space, because I've worked in the tech space a lot myself in my life. So I like businesses that are technology based, or apps and web apps and that type of stuff. I also like working with event companies and event people, because I've done a lot of work with network and event hosts and business event hosts and that sort of thing. So I like working with those people. But just ambitious entrepreneurs and just entrepreneurs in general, they're my family, they're my crowd. I like to hang out with my peers, hang out with my crowd, and help them in whatever ways I can. And I've got lots of ways that I can help people, because I've been doing entrepreneurship since I was 11. I'm nearly 48, 49 now. So it's like 38 years as an entrepreneur. And I've done a lot of things in my life. And so I think sometimes people need help in areas that they don't know, because, one of my good sayings is you don't know what you don't know. And so sometimes when you see somebody and you can point them in the direction of some knowledge or some experience or some information that they're not aware of, but it can help them move their business along or help them improve in some way, I like to do that, because I think it's good to share what we know with others who don't know it, so that they can benefit from that knowledge and grow in some way.
Hmm. So that's it for today, and thank you so much, Mike, for joining us and sharing your journey and insights. And thank you everyone for listening. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike.
Thank you for putting on the podcast, and for asking some such good questions. And ultimately, anyone who's finding some sort of vehicle to help educate entrepreneurs is doing a good thing in my book. So keep up the good work.
Thank you so much again, and I'm so sorry for the disconnecting. So thank you again. Bye. Thank you.
Problem, that's life. Life, it doesn't always run smoothly.
For sure. Thank you.